Welcome to your magical messaging and mindset tip with Christine Collins. Hey there, it's Christine Collins, and I have for you today a very interesting topic that centers around why it is that it can sometimes seem as though the wrong people seem to get the majority of the attention, and that can be so whether we are talking about things like popularity in dating or sales. And also why this means that your belief in yourself may be even more important than you thought. So, to start us off, let's have a look at who it is that tends to grab the most attention, whether you're talking about in-person situations or online, and in various different types of settings. So when we look at things like speed dating and online sales, where success is often connected to people's perception, and even more importantly, their immediate perception, the two types of people who tend to excel in these types of settings are narcissists and psychopaths. And if you're wondering why that may be, we can kind of tease this apart a little bit. So one reason is they may come across as extremely confident. And it may or may not be genuine confidence. It may even be a bit of cockiness. However, perception is often reality in some of these situations. Additionally, these two categories of people may also be more comfortable with stretching the truth or saying the things that they think you want to hear, whether that's in the dating world or in sales. They are highly skilled manipulators, meaning that they can read what people are looking for and know exactly how to cater to that. And their prime objective is getting something from you that they want. So they're comfortable saying and doing things to achieve that goal. And unsuspecting people right and left may fall prey to some of these incredibly skillful manipulators. And that can be particularly important in the online sales world, where you don't necessarily have a direct path to get to know them more closely to truly understand who they are and whether their product or service is truly good. So we do need to kind of pause here briefly as we're discussing the concept of narcissists, because that word does get thrown around quite often. And I think just about everybody believes that they've got an ex or a very difficult person in their world who's a narcissist. But in reality, it's roughly like 1 to 5% of the population, very small. And it's also very worth mentioning that everybody will, at some moments in their life, portray some traits that are similar to narcissism. That does not necessarily mean that they are an actual narcissist, clinically diagnosable. And in some cases, they may actually very well be. But at times, everybody has moments of selfishness, self-centeredness, manipulativeness, when they're having an off day, when they're feeling cornered. But when we are specifically talking about dark tetrad traits, so narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and sadism, we are looking at an actual much smaller percentage of the population. Now, actually encountering these individuals can be very disconcerting and at times even dangerous. But they do tend to suck up quite a bit of the attention of the population because of all of those traits that we described. So a few ways that I tend to know that I can more genuinely trust someone is that they're not completely polished. They don't say exactly what I want to hear. They may be a little bit awkward. They may not always be completely confident and have the perfect words. They may not always agree with me. They may be just the right amount of nerdy and even a little self-conscious. They've experienced genuine true hardship, and they can be vulnerable. They may even at times seem a little insecure about their work. Most importantly, they respect my boundaries, and when I say no, it sticks. So understanding that there is a small percentage of the population who are actually narcissists, and some are psychopaths as well, and they may come across as being very skillful at sales. That does not necessarily mean that they actually have a really good product or service, that they are actually trustworthy, and that they do actually deserve the level of attention that they receive. So while we can't necessarily change all of that, one thing that I think is very important for people who are genuine and authentic and validly have a good product or service, those people tend to struggle with things like imposter, which is you actually are skillful, maybe not perfect because no one is, but you have a legitimately valid, helpful, skillful service or product, and yet doubt yourself, second guess yourself, worry that you're still not good enough, worry that you need to know more, you need to do more, you need to be more. And as a result, sometimes it can come across to an audience as not being confident. And unfortunately, that can translate into them thinking that it's not a valuable service or product, which actually isn't true. And so that leads me to the importance of you building up your self-confidence, your belief in yourself. And here's why. You may be competing with narcissists and some of these other potentially negative personality traits. However, you do actually offer a valid, good, helpful service or product. And it's really important that you get your message across confidently, because there are people out there that genuinely need your help and support. And therefore, it's critical to build up your sense of self-worth, self-confidence, and the ability to convey that in your messaging. And it does come through in terms of what you actually believe. Bravado only goes so far, and most of the time it can be seen through. And so this is another reason of many that I think it's very important that we work on our self-beliefs, our self-doubts, our concerns about how we perceive ourselves, how we think we're coming across to others. And there are many ways that you can do that. Of course, there's many, many different tools and techniques. I know I often speak about hypnosis because that is one that I've had direct firsthand experience with, but there are others as well. But I do invite you to consider the vital importance of building that up for yourself, however you choose to go forward with that. There are a variety of conscious tools you can use in the NLP realm, in the EFT tapping realm, and various other modalities and services. Tapping through negative beliefs can be extraordinarily helpful. Working with a practitioner or on your own can be incredibly powerful. And so I will just wrap up here and leave you with a nice little practice that you can begin, which is a visualization. And now I've talked about it many times in other capacities, but briefly, the value inherent in visualization is that our brains tend to record our practiced visualizations in a similar way to memory, which means that at a subconscious level, we believe that we have experienced that visualization. And in doing so, in visioning up whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, whether it's a specific goal, whether it's seeing yourself doing something confidently, whether it's seeing yourself completing something, it will help you to actually endeavor to do that in the real world because your brain believes that you have already done it. It lowers some of your defense mechanisms and your resistance and some of that tendency to kind of self-sabotage because something feels uncomfortable. It slowly becomes more comfortable because you've actually practiced it in the visualization realm before attempting to go and do it out in the world. So anytime you are creating visions within your mind, whether for positive or for negative, it's incredibly powerful. And so I also invite you to consider the use of that tool, whether intentional or unintentional, because sometimes we do unintentional visualizations that are powerful. So definitely using it to your benefit can be a very valuable tool. So in this visualization, I call it finding the sage, and it is in a sense to consider something that you want to do. Perhaps it's a behavior that you would like to achieve that you're not yet doing, something that's positive, something that's constructive. And so there's lots of different examples, but let's just use a very simple example of working out every day or going for a run every morning, or it could be something for your business. Perhaps you have set a goal for yourself to record a video every week or something like that. So whatever it is for you, I'm not here to tell you what your goal should be, but think about something that you would really like to achieve for yourself that's important to you, and also that feels attainable, like it's just a little bit out of reach. So we're not talking about something that's like way out there, you've never been skiing in your life and this is the goal that you've set. So just something that actually feels reachable to where you are right now, that if you only had that little extra motivation, that little extra oomph, you'd be able to do it. So now thinking about someone that you know, and this does not have to be a real person, but it can be. be. So it could be someone that you know who's famous. It could be someone that you know in your personal life. It could be a character, someone that you know who is doing that thing, that goal that you have set for yourself, and imagine how they are as they do it. So in the example of someone who gets up and goes for a run every morning, rain or shine, think about that person and visualize them getting up and jumping out of bed, putting on their running clothes, and going out the door. Visualizing them in that scenario as if they're up on like a big movie screen and you're watching them. And now the next step, after you have that pretty clear for yourself, you've run through that a couple of times, the next step is to envision them in that scenario encountering an obstacle. So if it is someone who's running every morning, one morning they wake up and it's raining, or there's something going on that would otherwise deter them from achieving that goal for the day, and visualize that person overcoming that obstacle, being as realistic as possible. Now, in reality, we know that runners, they may actually have some days where maybe they don't go, they aren't feeling well. So temporarily suspend your disbelief, because we are just imagining here, and allow them to work through that obstacle, whatever it is, and see them still running. See how do they solve that obstacle? How do they overcome that challenge? And visualize that portion of them overcoming the obstacle. And then the final step is on your third round of this visualization, you're now going to pop yourself into that movie screen, and now it's you. So now you are the runner jumping out of bed, going and doing the thing, and you are now encountered with that obstacle. So take yourself through the same series of courses, envisioning yourself doing those things, and then also being confronted with whatever obstacle you think might deter you, and then seeing yourself overcoming it in your visualization. This is a really interesting practice because, first of all, not only is it beneficial for the practice itself, but it allows you to get a lot of insight and understanding of where you think the challenges and the problems may be in terms of achieving your goal. And now you have some tools that you can work on that and problem solve ahead of time. So if you uncover that an obstacle for you would be being tired or being hungry or whatever that is for you, you now have the opportunity to do your own intervention and try to figure out how you would solve that problem for yourself. So I hope you have found this very interesting and useful. If you are interested in improving your self-confidence, in getting yourself into a space where you have reduced self-doubt, you have begun to shift some of the old beliefs that may be holding you back from your goals, that may be leading you to come through in your messaging or your conversations or your content as being less confident than you think you really need to be, I invite you to consider tools like hypnosis and visualization, both of which you can find in my Hypno-Pothecary, which is my mindset membership. And all of that information is available down in the bottom of the show notes. And once again, I'm Christine Collins. If you would like to check my work out further, you can have a peek at transformcreate.com. And until the next time we connect, I wish you the most magical and creative rest of your day. Thanks for listening. This is Christine Collins at transformcreate.com.